What's up, Big J?
Going on?
We're having a little problem with Mike. His device isn't working. They will need to connect their mic cam before you can add them to the stream. All right. Mike, if you could hear us, please try and figure out what is going on. What's up, Big J?
How are you?
Hanging in there, man. Look what I got.
Oh, yeah. You like it?
I got my I Prevail hat.
Let me see it. Lean forward. Looks good.
Looks not bad. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, shirts coming in tomorrow. I'll send you one.
And I also got my Dream Chaser for my Prevail subs.
Dude,
I used it. I forgot how good it worked, actually, because I haven't used it in a really long time. And when did I use it? Sunday night. I was like, I put it on some ice and water, and I was like, oh, very nice, very nice. So it worked. And then I got a Rogue Pro.
Oh, look at you.
I know. And Rogue X. I'm sorry, not Rogue Pro, Rogue X. Sorry, I get them mixed up. So I'm not, okay. Anabolic Academy is brought to you by I Prevail subs. But I want people to know that I'm not bullshitting when I say that this is probably the best pre-workout I ever used.
Thank you.
And I'm not bullshitting because Jay don't pay me a fucking dime, okay?
I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. We don't pay money.
Yeah. so you know, it is what it is. So so it's completely sincere. This really is the best fucking pre-workout I ever used.
Thank you.
And Luke said he just purchased his stuff too.
Yeah, he just texted me. I hooked him up with a deal, and I got some shirts coming tomorrow. So I'll pick them up. I gotta pick the shirts up tomorrow. But I got some 3Xs. I'm sure he could fit a 3X.
Yeah, well, I prefer like a
what are you, an XL or 2X?
I like them big. I don't like tight fitted shirts, you know. So I prefer 2X. But so I Prevail subs discount code is SNS10. It's in the description down below. And I don't know if Mike is going to be able to join us. I don't know what's going on with his devices. I was actually going to invite him to join us on Friday and Saturday for the Olympia.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to, there we go. Okay. We got you.
All right.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, Jason. How's it going?
Good, bro. How are you?
Good.
Now that we got you, Mike, if you're not busy this weekend, I'm going to be doing a live feed for the Olympia.
Okay.
Jay's going to join me. My friend Rich, who's a pro from Canada, he's going to join me. I think Lee Priest is going to be popping in and out. You're more than welcome to come. I know it's long, so you can come and go as you please. You could stay for 20 minutes. You could stay the whole time. It's completely up to you. It's, you know, but I'm going to be there from 8 p.m. Friday all the way till the ending of prejudging, and then 8 p.m. Saturday all the way to the end of the finals.
So you're going to be out there in person?
No, right here, just like you're doing here.
Okay, well, I'm going to be out there in person. So,
oh, you suck, man.
Well, yeah, I'm going to the Olympia. I suck.
Yeah, you fucking. Well, if you get bored and you go to your room and you want to relax and you want to pop on,
I will do that. I got some other obligations, but you know, it's all last minute stuff.
I'll send you the link anyway. I'll send you the link, and if you want to pop on, if you got some free time, you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
What happened to Jay? We ran away.
Technical difficulties.
The reason why I wanted to have you on is I'm doing something new right now. We're live right now, so I don't know. There he is. I wanted to every year at the Olympia, you kind of get one or two guys, maybe more, that are kind of at the end of their career, and it turns out to be their last or next to last Olympia. And since you two guys are former elite IFBB pros, I wanted to talk about life after the Olympia, life after bodybuilding. Because this year you got, okay, I'm just going to be very honest. You got Brandon Curry. I believe he said that he's already going to retire after this year. Okay. He's lucky if he breaks the top 10 this year. Last year he came in ninth.
He came in like Do you remember when he turned pro? 2003 or so?
Oh, I have no idea. It's been
I
some
remember
time.
being there, and I think it was the USA.
It's been a while since he's turned pro. He's been in the game a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been after I retired, but somewhere around that 2005.
Akeem Williams is kind of at the end of his career. And our friend Dorian Haywood is probably going toward the end of his career. This is going to be his Olympia debut, but he's also been in bodybuilding for a very long time. So I wanted to talk about that. There seems to be like some people that really do well after bodybuilding, and there are some people that kind of don't do that well. But what is there in store for people after bodybuilding, in guys that were in your category, where you made a living, you did it full time, and where do you go from after that world is over in the next phase of life? Go ahead, Mike. You can jump in.
It's a big change. Personal training is obviously an obvious one for them to segue into. But in my case, I was having some health issues, some serious health issues. So what I chose to do is do a complete 180 and stop competing. And I didn't stop working out, but I mean, I changed my intense training drastically because I didn't want to put any lactic acid into my body. I dropped my protein down to something below 100 grams a day, and stopped all the drugs I was taking. But that was just my case, so I can't speak to someone that had a great career and then got to the end of their career. And I would hope that pro bodybuilders, would taper stuff off and stop pressing on the gas so hard and take their health into consideration. And
I was actually talking about more of how to make a living.
Personal training.
You think the majority of guys go into personal training, and there's enough to go around, basically?
Yeah. I mean, if you're good at it, but sometimes being a really good bodybuilder yourself doesn't translate into teaching other people how to be a pro bodybuilder or be a good bodybuilder and make good gains.
Because Jay, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is, like I said, it's quiet. It's quiet when guys like Brandon Curry are out of the spotlight. Guys like Akeem Williams that is coming toward the end of their road, and maybe people aren't cheering for them. They got fans. And then the other reason why I brought this up is because I didn't see the movie Smashing Machine, but it's been everywhere as far as advertising. And I started going down the rabbit hole of Mark Kerr. And after he retired from fighting, he really had a tough time. He was homeless for a little bit. He was living out of his car, and he got a job as a Toyota salesman, a car salesman. What things do a bodybuilder with his head on in his late 30s, early 40s, realizes the end of his career is coming? What kind of transitions do they have to make to continue to have an income when they leave bodybuilding? Because you're too young to retire. You're just too old to bodybuild.
So I see where you're going with this. And actually, it's a really important question, because there's people that are around now that don't know what they're going to do when they're off the stage. There's people out there that don't know if they can do anything else. Mike brought up personal training, and I think you learn so much, not just being a bodybuilder, but being a professional bodybuilder, about the body, about training, about nutrition. That's probably a really easy pathway to, hey, look, dude, I'm good at this.
Right.
And you don't have to necessarily train other bodybuilders, just lifestyle people and just, people that just want to get in shape, and, they love the way you look. They don't want to look like that, but they know that, they're learning from experience, and they're learning from somebody who's done it, who's walked that road before. For me, I worked my whole career. I was never just a bodybuilder, I ran Diamond Gym for 11 years. I started getting involved with short sales of houses, buying and selling lower income properties. rental properties, mortgages. I was hustling. And when I met my wife, I knew I was at the end of my career, and I was already offered a couple of jobs in sales in the sports supplement industry. And I really thought that I was going to own a gym one day. That was my real goal. I wanted to own my own gym. I'm a native from Diamond Gym, so I love that atmosphere. I love that environment. I wanted to put something together that had that ambiance to it, which is what I thrived in. And it might be a niche. Well, actually, now it's not. Now everybody loves it, and there's gyms like that all over. But I was also good at formulating products, and I saw the science side of things. And when I signed with these other companies doing sales, I really thought I was signing as an athlete. But they loved the way I talked about the product. So they put me on the road, getting new accounts and handling new accounts all over the country. And I took it from there. And then I kind of saw an angle where I say, this is something I can do. This is something that I enjoy doing. I want to do. I was also promoting bodybuilding competitions in Muscle Beach to have. And, I always kind of open things up. So when I'm ready to retire from bodybuilding, I had other pathways.
Smart.
So you have to look ahead, any athlete. Anytime you're doing anything in life, you have to look ahead. Like, what if this job doesn't work out? What the fuck else can I do? Can I read? Can I write? Can I articulate? Can I talk to people? Can I do sales? Can I sell? Everybody's good at something, and everybody has their niche and their comfort levels. But I kind of knew what I was good at, and I knew what I would thrive at, and I just continued to pursue that side of it. But, fortunate for me, I come from a very competitive side. So I'm able to hit that road hard and go at it like I'm competing for a show or training for an Olympian.
Mike, did you have the same kind of realization? Did you understand later on in your career, or did it kind of smack you in the face after you were done and you were like, fuck, I got to find something to do for a living?
Mine was a big smack in the face. I came back and got my blood work done, and the nephrologist was like, that dialysis within the next year. I was like, wow, not doing that. So that's what prompted me to, put the brakes on. And I say it all the time. Like I take whatever I was putting into bodybuilding, and I just took that focus and put it into healing myself and getting myself better. And that's why I moved out to Phoenix. I had to get a regular job, but I did start off with personal training, and from my experience, I did really well at it. I had clients in the morning, we did regular thing, we eat lunch, and then every clients in the evening. And I was pulling in some really good money. And then
that's good.
Just before COVID kind of fizzled out a little bit, and then I had to, get some regular full-time jobs, construction jobs, water mitigation jobs. To this day, I still work a full-time job.
So what's your full-time job today?
I work for a children's ministry. I'm in charge of the facilities at the children's ministry.
Trojans? Condoms?
No, children's ministry.
Oh, I thought you said Trojans.
Yeah. I should just say I'm a facilities director, but it's for
sorry, man. Okay.
Organization.
All right.
Before I moved out to California, I did work my whole life. I worked in my brother's video store. I was managing that for about 13 years. And even before that, I had jobs. So my whole entire life growing up in New Jersey, I was still working full time. But then when I moved out to Venice Beach in about 2002, it was just living at Gold's and paying my rent and hustling, gear and stuff like that. So
right.
We know how to make our money.
What was wrong? Obviously you had some kind of kidney issues. What actually happened?
My blood pressure was out of control for years, and I just simply ignored it. And then, I got blood work back, and it was just way more out of range than it was before. My creatinine, I think, was at like a 3.7 or something like that. My BUN,
that's high.
BUN was somewhere around 60. And like I said, I went from the doctor to the nephrologist, and the nephrologist was like, "You're in stage 4, and we just need to get you." And he said, "Within a year or so, you got to get into dialysis." And I knew Tom Prince, and I was like, I'm not going down that road. And it was kind of funny because I said to the doctor, I was like, "Okay, what do I need to do? What do you need to prescribe me? How do I get myself better?"
Right.
And he's like, "Well, we can control your blood pressure, but there's basically nothing we can do." And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm just going to figure out ways. And my way was just to eliminate all the bad things I was putting into my body and change my lifestyle completely. So,
And how are things now?
things are good. I'm stable. I'm stable at like a very low stage 3. I think the last time I got my creatinine level, it was at a 1.9, somewhere around there. So it's stable. But I mean, every time I'm due. I'm about 6 months since my last blood work. And, I'm always concerned because I think the last blood work I got, it kind of ticked from a 1.8 to a 1.9.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go again and it's 1.9, I'll feel great. If it's 1.8, I'll feel great. If it goes up to a 2.0, then so I still have that in the back of my head, like how much damage did I do? Because, I don't believe doctors, even nephrologists and specialists can tell you exactly what's going on in your own body.
Right.
So I just try to lead the best, cleanest lifestyle I can right now. Don't drink, don't do any drugs. I will have a glass of wine when me and my wife go out to dinner on the weekends or things like that. But I'm just very cautious of everything I put into my body, even if it's like candy or something like that.
All right. So as far as well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well and everything is stable.
Thank you.
But as far as guys that financially have to make the transition, have to figure out, like, obviously probably the best case scenario obviously is Schwarzenegger, but minus Schwarzenegger, I would say Jay Cutler is probably the best case scenario. What was some of the worst case scenarios? You don't have to name names if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you guys. What was some of the worst case scenarios? Because I gotta believe that people that are at such a level that they're making money from endorsements and sponsorships, and then they decide they're not competing anymore. I don't know what the contracts are with sponsors and endorsements on that level, but I gotta believe it can't be the same. Do you ever run into a situation where you knew somebody that was like doing well, and then all of a sudden it's time for him to leave the stage? He's got to retire, and he's got no plan B, no sponsors, no endorsements, and then where does he go from there?
Well, I think Craig Titus is the worst example of
that. That's definitely
I was trying to think of some guys in between that just lost the sponsorship or something, but
that's a completely different fucking pathway.
Yeah.
There's guys that when they're done with the sport, they're done with the sport. And you hear this from athletes of all arenas, that I couldn't go to another Mr. Olympia for years. I just didn't feel it was weird. I wasn't competing there anymore, going from that level to not being there. And it's fucking tough. It's definitely tough on the mentality of an athlete. There's guys that, they're just done with it and they get jobs in different industries that have nothing to do with it, and they go a different route. There's other guys that fall hard because they don't know what else to do. And then there's guys that, hey, I'll do the Masters. I'll keep doing the Masters. And, and it gives them some sense of identity, I think. Yeah. And some people, you can't take that away from anybody, and nobody's in a position to tell anybody that you got to give that up, but when I was done with it, I knew I was done with it. I was ready for the next chapter of my life. But it sometimes isn't that easy for a lot of people.
It's gotta be difficult. Like, I have a full-time job, and I have a really good job, and my job pays me well, but I also have retirement, I have pension, 401k, I have benefits, medical, dental, optical. As a bodybuilder, you don't have any of that. Yeah. And then you're going from making all this money where you can kind of pay out of pocket to trying to find a regular job. And I would have to think that personal training, you're not getting those benefits. I would have to think that, managing a gym, you're not getting those kind of benefits. It just seems like a very, very difficult transition, like you said, for any athlete to go from, one, being in the spotlight, having fanfare, and then all of a sudden you're worrying about medical, retirement, dental, my kids' eyeglasses, my kids' braces, and whatever the case may be. Yeah. There's got to be situations where guys have either really fell into deep depression, or didn't know how to handle it, or came back from maybe a psychological problem or mental health issues and so on and so forth from the transition? Because I can't see it being simple. Maybe it's simple for some people. I can't see it being very simple. You look at a guy like Kai Green and you go, why are you still 300 pounds? You know, you can't, you haven't competed in, whatever it's been, 10 years. There's no reason to still be 300 pounds. And what are you doing for a living anymore? Do they still get paid to travel? Like Lee Priest is an exception to the rule. He still gets paid to fucking show up places and so on and so forth. But what about all those guys in between?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Kai still makes money for appearances. Phil Heath still makes money. Sean Ray makes money for appearances. There's those guys that they've stayed relevant. And for Kai, I think this is his way of staying relevant. He's still big. He's still this. He's still that. And that's kind of the last thing that goes. When Mike was different, he had a health issue. He had to get rid of that weight. I had a slow progression where I stopped taking as much. I cleaned my blood out. I was doing this. I had a family, raising kids. I was going a different way. Mine was a kind of slow, steady progression. But I always knew, like, hey, when I'm done, I want to get back into like my light heavyweight shape, being like 190, 195 pounds, being lean, being in shape, being able to move, my old wrestling days and stuff like that, being agile. But some people, they have such, they feel secure when they're that big. It's a sense of security. It's their identity. Sometimes that's the last thing to go. And with what we see nowadays, with the health issues that are popping up, sometimes you're better letting that go sooner than holding on to it later.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that can't let it go. I mean, I see it even, all levels, but even at the amateur level, especially if you're like competing at the nationals in USA and you're trying to turn pro. I mean, those guys, those are the ones that burn out and get, usually wrapped up in drugs or something like that. It's tough, it's a tough grind. So
what about the transition from being, instead of the financial transition, the transition from going from changing your lifestyle, making a living, what about the transition of, being in the spotlight, people asking for autographs, lines at the gym when you do appearances, to that fading away?
That's a tough one too.
Go ahead.
And I know you know this, Jason, but yeah, I mean, at the end of my career, I was walking around 260, 270. But even before that, even when I was like at 240, I mean, I was at a certain level where I would walk into anywhere, a diner, a movie theater, any place, and almost every head in the place would turn around, and the people that weren't turned around would tap the other guy on the shoulder and be like, look at this freaking guy.
Yeah, right.
And, you kind of get used to that over a period of 15 years or so. And then you kind of just learn to not look at it anymore. And then once it kind of goes away, it starts fading away, you start realizing that's not happening anymore. And it's a big kind of change. We're just talking to somebody. If you're having a confrontation with somebody, I'm dealing with that still to this day, where like before, if I were getting some kind of whatever dispute with somebody, verbal, whatever, they would just cower away. And and now that I'm like 185, I was like, man, why is this guy sticking up for himself? So
yeah.
So it is a big change. But
you're like the pit bull that won't bite.
Yeah. So that's life. That's life as you get older. I mean, we're all getting kind of to the age now where, things kind of, you wake up and you're like, oh, did I do something with the bench? Like, oh no, my elbow hurts for no reason.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of life that you have to kind of learn to deal with. So it's a lot of mental.
Jay, what about the fanfare? What about the fame? What about the people that want to know you, want to sign your autograph? Want to be around you, and so on and so forth, and emails or whatever the case may be. How do you transition from that?
That was different for me, I think, because Instagram back then wasn't. People knew who I was. But I wasn't like a Lee Priest or a Sean Ray or a Dorian that was out. I just wanted to fucking compete. I've been on 5 covers worldwide, right? That was great. I was honored. I don't even own them. I don't even know where they are. You know, like I wasn't that guy who cared about being in the spotlight. When anybody asked me for a pic, like people used to sell pictures, and I would bring them at the Olympias and said I would give them away. I'm gonna fucking charge anybody for a picture of me. You know, like I was just happy they wanted to take a picture of me. Like who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
You know, so I never really thought of myself as that. I mean, I had recognition, you know, obviously a lot more in the tri-state area than other parts of the country. And I still get a little bit of that every now and again, because I'm still basically a little relevant, at least in the industry. But I didn't really care about that much. I wasn't the guy that when I walk in a room, I want everybody to know I'm in a room, you know, and I already had that visual, you know, stigma where, you know, you're visually attractive just because you look like a freak, you know.
Right.
And like I said, I slowly transitioned, but people look at me now, wow, dude, you look like you work out, you look like you're in shape. Cool. You know, yeah, I take care of myself.
Yeah, right.
I'm not taking my shirt off, but
yeah.
So that wasn't hard for me.
Okay. What about you, Mike? With the popularity, the fanfare, the autographs, going to the shows, and people wanting to take pictures with you, was it difficult as a change?
It's I would say it is a difficult change. I mean, it wasn't ridiculously hard, but I do kind of notice myself now. You know, I talk to my wife and say, oh, you know, I kind of miss that every once in a while. You know, it's kind of cool. We were in the airport. We just came back from a wedding, and we were standing in line, and some ladies behind me were kind of like noticing my veins, and you know, I could hear them talking. I must have turned around and looked at them. They're like, oh, we're nurses. We're just checking out your veins. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, checking out my veins.
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of like, so
a little
there's part of me that kind of misses, you know
what's real humbling is when your kids get more views on Instagram or TikTok. So
yeah.
Start to realize nobody gives a shit about me.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I got a nephew that has like 35,000, you know, views or whatever.
Right.
I think if this podcast ever really blows up and I become very famous, I'll probably turn into a big jerk off. Like, I'll probably be a big dick. Everybody's like, that guy's a dick, because it's like the pilot light is on low right now. I just need to throw gas on it, and, you know, turn it up a little bit.
Fucking spray fuel on it.
Yeah. All right, Mike. So since I got you here, what do you think about this weekend coming up, man? Who do you think it ain't easy?
First of all, let me say, I think it's wide open.
Yeah.
You're going to talk before and a few times, and I think if someone comes in super dialed in, super defined, they're going to take it. But I will say I like Derek Lunsford. If I was going to be forced down, like, who do you think's going to win? I would say Derek. The no neck guy, I know he's kind of a dark horse, but I don't know. I think he could kind of. Have you
seen the progress pics of him?
I've seen some of them.
Yeah, you might change your opinion when you see the progress pics of him.
What do you think of him? I mean,
I don't think he's going to break the top 10. He looks pretty soft.
Okay. I mean, I just saw one. I didn't know it was from a while ago. Where was Milos measuring his leg? Was that current or was that?
Yeah, no, that's current. But if you see like he did a couple of workout videos and some shirtless videos and so on and so forth. I don't, he's got his work cut out for him. Put it this way. See,
and then Nick, I think Nick can be a surprise. I mean, I know he's big and blonde.
Yeah.
He's got his waist thing going on, but again, I mean, I've been to enough shows where if he comes in some kind of crazy condition that makes him stand out amongst anybody else, he can shoot up there.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody keeps talking Samson, and maybe I just haven't looked at him that much, but I mean, he's incredible too.
Yeah.
Totally can. Won it before.
Jay, Derek has been putting out a little bit more progress pics. And there are people saying, oh, he looks 3 weeks out, he looks a month out, and so on and so forth. I think they have short memories.
Yeah.
Because
And it doesn't matter what he looks like today.
Yeah.
It matters what he looks like on Saturday, you know, and what these guys don't realize is these guys are fucking pros. They're fucking pros, and their trainers are fucking pros.
Yeah.
You know, so they're going to die one way or another, whether it's healthy or not. They're going to be as lean as they possibly can.
Yeah.
On that day. Now, with that being said, dude, I think it could go 4 different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's going to be a highly competitive Open Olympia. I think you got Samson, you got Nick, you got Hadi, and you got Derek. To be honest, dude, I think Derek's going to have a hard time in the top 3. I just think Nick is coming on so strong.
Yeah, he is.
That they're either going to go for his look or he'll be a third or second or third. You know what I mean?
And did you see Hadi's
looks
pick today with his legs?
I still think Samson's the guy to beat.
Yeah.
But dude, it could go any of those 4 ways.
Right. But if you guys remember, people were saying the same thing about Derek before the Arnold Classic. That he looked 3 weeks out, he looked a month out, and so on and so forth. And then he shows up on stage for the Arnold, and he's fucking lights out. You know.
Yeah. But Samson was off. Samson was not the Olympia Samson.
No, 100%. But Derek was way better than the Olympia. And it looks like to me that him and Aceto figured out the formula for Derek, and that's hold on to as much size as possible until the very, very end.
Dry you out.
Yeah, because last year when he really came in as hard as he could possibly come in, he lost his legs, and I think that's the balance with him.
But that's the thing is his legs definitely on the past couple showings, you could see where he's walking a fine line.
Right.
And even if they look good, he's fighting to keep them there.
Yes, agreed.
So if he starts flattening out, and his upper body is so big that if his legs flatten out, it's just a huge contrast from top to bottom, you know?
Yeah. Mike, just to let you know, I did a video by myself about a month ago, and I said, I don't know if Samson's going to be able to repeat. I said, I don't think Samson's going to be able to repeat. And I said, gun to my head, I would have to pick Derek. Okay. Because I think between his shape and the fact that he has Aceto in his corner and they've realized what they have to do to get in prep as he did for the Arnold and Pittsburgh, I said, gun to my head, I would have to pick Derek. But it's nobody's fucking guarantee. I mean, it is wide open. I wouldn't be surprised if any one of those top 4 guys take it. If Hadi wins again, if Samson wins again, if Nick takes it, would not be fucking surprised at all.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Shows where you can, sometimes you have 2 favorites, you hear the rumor mill, you know, this is before the internet too. But then all of a sudden, like the guy they're top 2, all of a sudden, like some other guy comes and takes it, and now they're slapped down in, you know, second and third. So final
question, Mike, and then right after Mike, I'll come back to you, Jay. Mike, do you like it better like this, where you don't know who the Olympia winner is going to be? Or did you like it better when in your day when it was fucking Ronnie every year, lights out, we're just trying to figure out who's number 2?
I like it now.
Yeah.
I like it now because, I mean, that's kind of, I trained at Gold's Gym. It's like that since the beginning of time, like Lee Haney and like everybody kind of had their run. And as a bodybuilder, and I think a lot of other people thought like this is kind of just the way it is. Somebody gets on top and they just hang on to it. And now that it's kind of flip-flop and leapfrogging every year, it's cool. It's exciting. It's kind of like the way you thought it should. Well, like I said before, you just thought like this is just the way it kind of is. Maybe this is just like actually the way. So it's much more exciting now.
What about you, Jay? What do you think? You like it better like this, or you like it better when there's one dominant Olympia?
Well, you know, there's excitement, you know, from both aspects or both looks of it. You know, now it's cool because, dude, anybody could win it. You know, it's that competitive. Where in the past, like just like Mike said, we were from the era where when we were younger, it was Lee Haney, then it was Dorian for his 6-year stretch. Then you had Ronnie, but even during the Dorian years and the Ronnie years, there was a couple years where it was questionable. Mm-hmm. You know, where Dorian's going to show up the way he was. But there was that one year Nasser looked good and Sean Ray looked good, and same thing for Ronnie. There was like one year where I thought Jay, excuse me, thought Jay should have beat him.
Right.
Another year that was questionable, but it was almost like, is anybody going to top him this year? They were so dominant. You're just, and then Phil Heath had his stretch. So
right.
It's been that constant. It's nice to see that now it's so competitive that every year could be different. And it keeps these guys fucking hungry. Keeps everybody fighting.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be training for second. So during those long stretch years where the reigning Olympia was who it was, most people thought, hey, I'm fighting for second place. But now everybody's fighting to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could kind of see it too. Like you could kind of see how like they're real. And it's not just the top 4 guys. If you guys have seen Regan Grimes, and if you saw Tabani, and if you saw Brett Wilkin, these guys look fucking good, man. They look really good. Brett Wilkin put up a pic today, and it was like, oof. Now, I don't want to bring up because we're running out of time. Of course, everybody's shocked at the progress pic of Keon. But I think if anybody would have another run like a Ronnie or a Dorian, that's probably the guy you'd have to go to.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Mike, hopefully I will see you this weekend. I'll send you the link. If you could pop in, please pop in anytime, because we'll be there from 8 to fucking midnight or whatever. And Jay, I will see you. Same thing, man. You could come in anytime. You want to stay the whole time, you can. If you want to come and go.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, sounds good. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And remember, I Prevail Subs, Rogue X. Okay? Link in the description. Later, guys.
Okay.
Bye, boys.
See you guys.